It's episode 8. I'm Andrew Kozak, and this is Just Press Pause. Hey, I'm excited about today's episode. The first of 2 international guests joins me on the podcast. The second one I'll announce in an upcoming episode. Today, I'm joined by a good friend of mine, someone who has lived in some of the same markets as me, broadcasting as a radio DJ, and now literally lives around the world. Sam Dababneh, otherwise known as Nugget, for those that have lived in some of the same markets, joins me from the United Arab Emirates as he rides out the COVID-19 pandemic. We're talking with him in just a little bit to discuss what life is like for an American living abroad during this whole thing. And as we typically do, I'm sure a couple of less formal things we'll talk about as well. Hey, a quick reminder, by the way, that this podcast is available on Apple, Google, Stitcher, Deezer, Spotify, and iHeartRadio podcasts. Also, since I actually like editing, I always do a video version, pictures and videos always to go with it. So be sure to check that out on YouTube if you haven't already at Andrew Kozak TV. And by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit subscribe there on the bottom right of the screen. So my guest today is coming to me live to record from Dubai, which means he's 9 hours ahead. So for one of us, the day is just beginning. For the other one, it's just about bedtime. So with that, we're going to get to today's water cooler weather topic. It's definitely relevant to the Middle East, among other places, and goes really nicely with the theme. Today's episode is called Haboobs, and that's exactly what we're going to dive into right now. Haboobs. Funny name, serious impact. In fact, along with tornadoes and intense wall clouds, I think Haboobs produce some of the most jaw-dropping photos of any weather phenomenon. If you're watching on YouTube, take a look at this monster Haboob in Arizona. Now, this was taken by veteran storm chaser Reed Timmer. Looks like a scene out of Independence Day, right? Kinda. So let's start with what it is. An intense sand and dust storm carried across fronts and winds in desert regions of the world. Now, the power of the wind to pick up dirt and dust increases exponentially as the wind increases. And here's how they start. Thunderstorms produce rain, right? We know that. But in extremely dry and arid regions, thunderstorms can have their rain evaporate before it ever actually reaches the ground. And we call that a dry downdraft. Now, as this happens, the air cools and it accelerates to the surface, creates microbursts or downbursts, and these can be several miles across and can be several miles wide and can travel over great distances. The winds within them, by the way, can be over 70 miles per hour. That's about as strong as a weak tornado. As these winds strike the desert valley floor, the dust gets pulled up into the air and then pushed in the direction that the wind is traveling at the surface. And these storms can grow exponential in height and can also travel over dozens and dozens of miles. The result of cities or anybody in the path, visibility is near zero, air and car travel restricted, of course. It's impossible. You don't want to be outside because it's dangerous, and it could even clog air filtration systems. They cause the weather to go from sunny and nice to dangerous and dusty all within a matter of minutes. Haboobs are common not only in Arizona, the desert Southwest, but areas like the UAE, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia. For more information on Haboobs, how they form, and the damage that they cause, head on over to my Twitter page at Andrew Kozak TV, and I'll post some links. That's the water cooler weather topic of this episode. Now let's get to today's guest.
You're listening to the Just Press Pause podcast with Andrew Kozak.
So Sam, you live out in sort of a desert climate. Have you ever seen a Haboob? Have you ever heard of a Haboob? Have you ever touched a Haboob?
Is this a trick? Yeah. Well, the crazy thing about Dubai is that people don't have dryers. You have for your clothes, you have a washing machine, but then to dry your clothes, all you do is set them out on your balcony or out front on your lawn or wherever you can just put them out, and that dries your clothes instantly. So what will happen is if you do that and then a sandstorm hits, you just have sand everywhere, all in your clothes and in your pockets, and it's rough to get it all out.
That doesn't sound very good. All right, so you have been out in Dubai for what, about a year, almost a year?
Yeah.
So what is life like being out there versus living in America? Because you never have lived abroad before. You had no idea what to expect.
It's almost identical. The only things that what's crazy is it's so difficult to find when you're looking up before you move to a place like this, when you're trying to look up articles about how it is living out here. I was looking up YouTube videos and all kinds of stuff, and it doesn't accurately tell you what it's like. It's almost the same. You would think it'd be different, but I haven't noticed. The only thing is garbage disposals. They don't have that here.
Okay.
And that is man, does that make life difficult
I
when
can
you're lazy
imagine.
like me. And then and nobody really has a dryer. If you have a dryer out here for your clothes, then you are rich.
Yeah, but let's be
Uh,
honest for a second. It's what is it, like 110 degrees for like several months out of the year?
yeah.
So I mean, it kind of makes sense. How do you hang your clothes if you live in one of the high rises?
There are these things that you could buy at the store that are kind of like clothes drying racks, and that's what everybody uses. But really, it's the only difference is sand, no garbage disposals, and not using a dryer. Other than that, it is so similar to back home. People party out here more than any college town in the
Yeah.
U.S. that I've ever been to in my life. It's insane.
I mean, I've seen anybody that follows you on social media, obviously before COVID-19 kind of shut everything down, but it seemed like every week you were going to different parties, doing different things. And that's sort of like not a special occasion, but kind of like a way of life out there.
Well, yeah, they have this. They have these brunches, which is unlimited food, unlimited beverages for 3 or 4 hours, and you just pay one flat rate. So you're just like, yeah, just keep everything coming. And then they also do this thing called Drinks in the Sky, where you skydive and you skydive with a bunch of friends, and you have drinks while you're skydiving.
Have you done that?
I'm just kidding. That's not a real thing. How would that even
You
work?
know
Think
what?
about
I
that.
don't know. You put a sippy cup like lid on top. I don't know. I should know. People don't realize I've known you for almost a decade now. I should probably know better than to sit
Yeah.
here and intently listen to what you're saying and actually
Oh
think
yeah,
you're
skydiving.
you're
Yeah.
not full of crap. All right, so we're going to come back to some of the Dubai stuff, especially the stuff that actually is real and exists, and not the stuff you're full of crap about, in just a little bit. But I think what's really interesting about you is you're a radio DJ, and it's not really a very common career path. Tell me a little bit about how you got into what you're doing and how somebody becomes a radio DJ.
Sure. I went to school for a while I thought I was going to do TV because in high school, I did the morning announcements. There was like the TV in every classroom, and I was an anchor and a director on the morning announcements. So I thought I was going to do TV like what you do. But then I went to broadcast school and I saw that all the people that were doing TV looked miserable. But then all the radio people were just kind of eating snacks and relaxing and having a great time. And I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to do that and not do the look at all those stressed out TV people. That seems miserable. How much easier does my life seem than your life whenever you talk to me?
When you have a job, see, look, I could do that to you back since you did that to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I love what I do, but there's probably, I would say this without putting down your career, a little bit more work involved
Yeah.
in many points.
Yeah.
Um,
Way more work. I barely do anything. I mean, when I was working to like being unemployed, very little change in my day.
so so when you are employed, let's talk about how you got that first job because I mean, all joking aside, it's competitive, right? I mean, there's so many people that want to do what you do. So how did you first get that first gig?
Yeah, and now what's crazy is everybody that has a podcast is starting to get radio experience, so like anybody can do it. The first job I got was in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I had only part-time experience being on the air. I was right out of college, and this guy named Phil Becker gave me a shot, and that's what started things off. And he was really smart, and I learned a lot of stuff from him. And then I took that and I kept going.
What up? It's Nugget for ClickHop.com, and I'm just relaxing here at the Hooters car wash. It's a great turnout. There's Hooters everywhere, and it's for a good cause. I just want to leave you with this. There's no more Hooters in Fort Wayne. But if you want to see the Hooters girls, you could probably see them at some of the local strip clubs and other bars. I'm kidding. At least a couple of them.
I had a good run. Before I lost all of it.
So you were in Fort Wayne and then you went to Tulsa right after that, right?
I was in New York City, and
That's
then
right.
I went to Tulsa, San Antonio, Texas, Memphis, Tennessee, and now Dubai.
And now a hotel room waiting to see what happens. So what's your next? I'm gonna probably give you a little bit more crap about being unemployed because I
Yeah.
will play. In fact, let's just get to it right now. I was unemployed, at least part time, back in 2018, and that's before I got my job here at Spectrum. And I went on your show back in Memphis. Was it your podcast or was it the radio show in the morning? I think it was your
Uh,
podcast.
yeah, it was a podcast.
You gave me so much crap And I ended up not only overcoming and getting a full-time job, but then going to an entire meeting for the American Meteorological Society of my peers in San Diego last year, and a very serious topic about losing the job and coming back full circle. And the only time that I wasn't serious was playing this clip that I played in front of people that I had grown up watching my entire life. So take a look. One a real good buddy of mine who's a radio DJ had me on as I kind of say goodbye to Memphis a little bit. It didn't exactly go though.
But you did the weather. Yes. And then you were unemployed for like a year.
Why do you always bring up his unemployment?
What?
We all
and then he got a
rough
job.
patches.
He's got a job now. He had so much free time. Like your confidence was down. We would go to the gym and we'd be lifting weights and he would be crying during the weights and I'm like, is it heavy? And he's like, no, I'm just having a day.
Oh my gosh, shut up.
I was so close to convincing you to change your Instagram handle to @unemployedandrew.
Oh.
That was so close.
Because that's going to help me get a new job from somebody.
That would have been hilarious, but it was at Andrew Kozak TV, and you weren't really on TV. Shout out to Spectrum News 1. Big shout out to those guys. Thank you for giving my friend Andrew a job here.
That didn't go as planned. No, he's a good guy. In fact, he just got a job at radio with another game, and he just got a job in Dubai doing the radio there. So I'm not going to give you as much crap as you gave me, at least right now.
That was great. Well, the difference between my unemployment and your unemployment is your unemployment, when you were unemployed, you were all sad and mopey. My unemployment is great because I am, first off, super rich, so I'm not worried about money. And then also, I just get to relax in Dubai, which is an amazing place to relax. And it also helps that a lot of people are in the same boat. So many people lost their jobs, and so many people have it way worse than me, that it's really tough to be down about not having a job.
Well, and here's the thing: is this pandemic is worldwide, and it affected you in this way. But it's not like if there wasn't a pandemic, you'd be out of a job right now. I mean, we'd hope not.
I mean, you never know.
Right. I was going to say you could push the envelope a little bit, but and everybody you worked with, you had a show. It wasn't just you and another person. I mean, there was producers. There were not only the morning people, but you had a whole. I mean, everybody lost their job.
Yeah. The whole station is. I don't actually know what's going to happen to the station. So yeah, I was just one of the many people that are going to be in a way tougher situation. Whereas when you lost your job, it was just, we're done with you, Kozak, go find something in Ohio,
I mean, I want to say something, but you're actually not that far away from what the truth was. So now what's your next plan? Because you want to stay obviously in this, but it's your job, my job, our businesses aren't that different, at least right now, in the sense that, they're not really growing mediums. They're kind of dying in the opposite way. And, it's tough.
Well, I was going to come back there and live with you for a little while and sleep on your couch. And then, I don't know, I was going to see if you would just pay me to be your personal assistant, and then also apply for some TV and radio jobs and see. I'm completely prepared to just work in fast food or whatever job I need to do. I'm mentally prepared to work at a gym or a hotel or something if I have to. The way I see it is I got to do this awesome job for years. And if that's it, if this is the end of that, then that's fine. I got to do it for way longer than a lot of people.
Well, again, joking aside, I mean, I've known you for years. I've not only heard your stuff live, when I lived in the markets, we met in Tulsa, lived there for a couple of years. You and I left about the same time. I want to say you left first. You went to San Antonio. I went to Memphis, and then you happen to have a job in Memphis. I'm pretty confident you're going to get something. It just may be a little bit of time. What is it like out there knowing that, and I'm talking about when you were working in radio, that the extra, I call it extracurricular activities, but the things that you do outside of your morning show, what was that like? I want to go back to that a little bit, because when you were in Memphis, when you were in Tulsa, all those other things you were doing fun stuff, but you were doing state fairs. You guys were doing live remotes from, stores that may be sponsored with the radio station, but it was like a whole nother level out in Dubai. Talk about that a little bit.
Outside of work, we would do a lot of events with the schools in Dubai and in Abu Dhabi, because we reached Abu Dhabi too. I would do a lot of it is, this is going to sound terrible, but a lot of it is clients of the radio station that want you to come out to their restaurant or their hotel or whatever it is, and just essentially review them, try their stuff, post about it on social media. And that sounds like the easiest thing in the world, but I would wake up for work at 4:30 in the morning, and the last thing I wanted to do on a Tuesday night was go out. So it was a lot of that. And like I was saying earlier, it's just such a party city that there's this enormous pressure every weekend to go out and do things.
Yeah.
And I'm just not that big of a partier. And so it's especially dating. If you're trying to date somebody, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, I'm going to go out to this ridiculous party. We're going to be up until 5 a.m. And if you don't want to do that, then you're just going to be single.
So is all the, I want to say just girls, but there's guys too, but it seems like there's a lot of influencers out there.
I didn't even know what that meant until I moved out here, but they don't have, so in the US, you have kind of pseudo celebrities that live in every city. Like in Memphis, Drake's dad lives there. So people would freak out if they met Drake's dad.
Yeah.
But they don't have anything like that in Dubai. So what you get instead is influencers. And this is just random people with a lot of Instagram followers. And it's not really, there's all this value that's attributed to them. And people count me as an influencer. I don't feel like I am, but people will call me that. But to me,
yeah, but you actually were paid on a platform. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's a little different. Like, you didn't seek out free stuff to, you weren't benefiting from that free stuff and seeking it out. They were coming to you. That's a little different, right?
Yeah, it's different, but it's also like, so the thing is, the claim that you can get your Instagram followers to do something is something that's tough to accomplish and shouldn't be taken that lightly. Just because somebody has a ton of followers, it doesn't mean they can get them to do something. I know people with 100,000 followers that if they tried to promote a restaurant all week, maybe 10 people would show up. Is it worth paying that person to promote your restaurant? Maybe, but it's not like this person is going to bring a wave of prosperity into your business.
Right. Well, and it also seems like now, like I'm friends with some people that manage hotels here in town, and they're getting calls sometimes from local influencers that are saying, hey, give me a room with my friends for free this weekend, and, I'll promote you on. And now it's like no influencer policy. In fact, large hotel chains are starting to say, we're not doing that anymore, just because they're kind of sick of the asking for freebies and not getting anything in return.
Yeah. And if you're in the market for influencers and you think that will help your brand, you really don't want to do business with the ones that are contacting you. I would imagine you would just find the ones that are the most relevant to your audience and seek them out. So I don't get why, as an influencer, you would constantly be reaching out to people.
So is it kind of superficial out there? Like if somebody hadn't been out there before, the way you're kind of describing it with the influencers and the party scene, is it kind of like LA or Hollywood, or is it a different vibe than that?
It's like if everybody out here went to LA for a day, didn't really talk to anyone, just looked around, and then came back here and did what they thought LA was supposed to be.
That's a fair, I can see how that could be a fair assessment. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like if they if they watched one episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians and they were like, oh, that's what we're all supposed to do.
Yeah. Now, what is Abu Dhabi like? Because I know that's the other city kind of just down the street, pretty much.
Way more laid back. It's way more family oriented. There's still places to go out, but it's way more chilled. And I actually I like Abu Dhabi a lot. They have the Louvre in Abu Dhabi. There is this amazing mosque you can go to. It's Abu Dhabi is looked over a little bit more than I wish it was.
Well, and I just think because, Dubai, all that money poured in, I was looking up some pictures. I'm going to edit. Anybody that watches the YouTube knows I'll put some pictures and videos sometimes to overlay. And I came across a picture of Dubai in 1991. And oh man, there was a few buildings. It looked like a settlement. I mean, it did not look like there was anything there. And then just to see what it looked like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and see what it looks like today, it's just all built up. It's almost, I don't want to say artificial because people are pouring their livelihood into making that city great, but Abu Dhabi seems like it's more authentic to the Middle East than maybe Dubai is.
The thing is, there are parts of Dubai is big, and there are parts of Dubai that are just as family oriented as Abu Dhabi.
Mhm.
So I don't, it's just too big. It would be like saying how Memphis is in relation to Tennessee. Like Memphis is way different than the rest of Tennessee.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, the culture, what they're known for. I mean, even Memphis and Nashville is like two opposite. There's very few things that are very similar about Memphis and Nashville for anybody that's been there or lived there or been to both. Now that you're kind of holed up there for a little bit, what's it like in a city that prides itself so much on being an entertainment capital, being a place to go out and nothing's open, or at least things are starting to open? But what is it like where you can't live that normal Dubai life?
Things are almost back to normal out here as far as things reopening. They've even if you're exercising, you don't have to wear a mask at this point. But for the last few months, without anything being open, I feel really bad for anybody who's an extrovert. And I think that it's easy for people who are introverted to not empathize with, like, what's the problem? What do you mean you can't go out, so you're just dying? But if you're extroverted, you crave that. I would imagine it's like a drug to just go out and be social. And if you can't have it, it probably really affects you. So I'm lucky because I am perfectly happy watching Netflix and eating Doritos all day. But I know a lot of people that really had a hard time with everything being closed and not really being able to see their friends.
But why? But so why is that though? Because it would be hard for, I think, anybody watching or listening, or maybe who's watched you or listened to you when you were in Memphis or another. How is it that you're an introvert when you have a job that really requires you to be such an extrovert? Is it just because your job does that you kind of compensate on the other way?
Maybe. I think I used to be an extrovert, and then my job forced me to be that way so much that it just took it out of me.
Yeah.
But you'd be surprised at how many comedians. Ellen DeGeneres is an introvert.
That's interesting because she's, she has an
You wouldn't think
entertainment.
so.
Yeah, she has an entertainment empire. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that even if you are extroverted, the constant just being around people and talking to people it eventually just takes its toll, and you really start to enjoy the quiet moments by yourself.
Since we're friends, I've kept up with you. When this first happened in Dubai, you were basically held up in one room for what, 3 weeks, a month, something like that?
Yeah. I just moved this entire table. Yeah, I was in an apartment building with roommates, and my roommates, I don't know how responsible they were being. I wasn't keeping tabs on them. So I turned my little room in the apartment. It was a decent sized room. I turned it into a little studio apartment. I just did everything in that room and barely left at all unless I had to. I got all my groceries delivered and really just hold up in that little cave for as long as I could.
So now that things are starting to open up, what are you doing? What are you introducing back into your life while you're still out there?
You know what? For the first time this weekend, I'm going to go on a little staycation in one of the other Emirates and hang out with some friends and just go to a pool. I haven't been out in the sun as much as I would like to
Right.
be.
And it's like sunny, except when there's Haboobs. It's sunny there pretty much like every day.
Right. But it's not, but I haven't been really going outside. And so this weekend, I'm really going to take advantage. And that's what everybody's doing now, that you can go out for a run without having to wear a mask. That's what's happening. I mean, you can see the streets fill up almost instantly as soon as that was announced.
Yeah. Speaking of going on runs and stuff, so you've been working out in your apartment, in your room, without a gym. I mean, the gym's just started opening up out there, but you've kept in shape by doing what exactly by yourself?
Kettlebell is the secret to life when you have to do home workouts, because you can just burn so many calories just swinging some kettlebell around. It makes so much of a difference. And I've been able to, since I'm not going out and doing things, I've lost more weight than I've ever lost in my life.
Yeah.
And it's been really nice. But now that everything's open again, I don't care about that at all. And I'm just ready to eat. And I don't care what I look like naked at all.
See, I've been the opposite of most people too. Like I've lost more weight during this pandemic and everything kind of closed down than most people in America. Everybody's talking about, getting everything delivered and, it's kind of the same thing, but I don't know if it's our culture. I don't know if it's, but everybody I know is gaining weight. Everybody there is just complaining.
You got super, super fat for a while, and then you lost it so easily. It was
Thank
really
you.
impressive because you
Yeah.
just like ballooned up. It was so gross. And then you lost it almost effortlessly, which is amazing.
Well, I was 191 in the beginning of January, which is for my height. We're about the same height.
Pounds or kilos?
Pounds.
Okay.
Sam. And I was on the scale today actually, and because I try to weigh myself every Wednesday, and I was 164. So that's pretty
Dude.
decent. That's pretty decent. But you know what the thing is though? I think when you're inside and forced to be inside, it's so easy to say, well, I'm just gonna eat like crap, watch TV, wait this thing out. But at some point we're like, well, this thing, you can't wait it out for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. This thing has been going on. It's still going on here. So
Oh, my secret was popcorn because I would do the snacking thing too. But popcorn, you can have an entire bag. It's 150 calories. So I would just snack on popcorn all day as much as I wanted and then fill the rest of my day up with chicken or whatever crap you're supposed to eat.
yeah, I've been trying to do keto. I've been not like 100% keto. I think they call it like
Oh,
30.
God.
Just
Oh,
to
are you
see.
going to start? Oh, are you going to change your Instagram handle, the Keto Warrior or something?
No. I did order Factor 75. You ever heard of that?
What is that? That
It's
sounds
a
like
keto. It's a
what?
keto meal delivery service.
Oh, okay.
But I just did 1 week. We'll see how it goes. Everything has It's like 10 to 15 carbs for every meal. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Good luck. Hey, whatever works.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Especially now, when there are see, the thing is, it's so easy to have a cheat day on your own. But when you have restaurants, and everybody likes going out to a restaurant, who doesn't? So when no restaurants are open, when you can't go out, the bars were not open, so you can't even fill up on beer. I mean, you could in your house, but there's no incentive to go out, so you might as well try to be healthy. Not only yoga, but you were doing fasting too. Tell me about that.
Oh man, I don't actually think this is a good idea for people, but I decided that I had a goal weight that I wanted to hit, and I decided to do something kind of extreme. This is such a terrible idea. What I was doing is, because I was having too many cheat days. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to make every other day a cheat day. So what I did was every other day I had 500 calories, and then the next day I ate whatever I wanted. And that's how I lost a ton of weight.
But when you eat a ton of calories, what were we talking about? 1,500, 2,000, or were you talking about like?
No, so you end up losing. You don't have that much of an appetite on your non 500 calorie days. So I ended up just eating a normal day of food, and then you lose weight so fast because between those 2 days you're at such a high caloric deficit that you're just shredding. But it's not great for muscle retention.
Right.
I'm weaker than I've ever been in my life, and it's probably not good for you. It's probably one of the worst ways to go about
Well,
it.
I was going to say, I'm glad you're saying that because I don't want anybody to watch this or listen and be like, well, that's a good idea. Maybe I'll try that.
It has a really dumb idea, but I just wanted something. Nothing was working. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do this. It's extreme, but I'm going to hit my goal. And then as soon as I hit my goal, I just went back to normal.
Okay. So you're going to come back to the United States, at least to visit. You were going to visit family anyway. Tell me about what your plans are. Tell me about what your long-term goal will be right now. Obviously, we already talked about you wanting to get another job in radio, but you're going to kind of wing it over the course of the next few weeks and months, right?
Yeah, well, I'm going to come home and see my family. I haven't seen them it'll be a year. It'll be a year this month. So I'm going to see them, and I'm going to come hang out with you. Maybe we'll do a podcast in real life. And then I'm going to go see some of my best friends all around the country. And then hopefully I'll have a job somewhere soon.
And you've been applying like crazy, right? I mean, you've got your stuff out there all over the country.
No, I got a couple leads, and I'm following up on those. But for now, I'm sending my stuff out to people out here in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. When I come home, if anybody wants to talk, I'll entertain that,
Right.
and then see what happens.
Well, I mean, I hope you stay out there. Not because I don't want you to come back here, but I wanted to get out there and visit just because that's a part of the world that I think, when people talk about I want to go outside the country, Dubai is a place that people want to visit, but it doesn't seem like it's that accessible. There are direct flights, although now we don't really know. But you were even talking about now the way things are going after the pandemic and after the airlines kind of shifted around. It could take like 25, 30 hours just to get back between them and there in the United States.
Flights can be long, but what's hilarious to me is I just find it so entertaining that people think that you're a good person because of what you just said. It's just so funny that you try to glaze over this. You're like, yeah, man, I just want you to stay out there so that I can come visit. You don't care about my livelihood at all.
I just need a place. I don't want to pay those outrageous hotel prices. I want a place
Yeah.
to stay when I go out there and party.
Oh, you were under the impression that I was going to have somewhere for you to stay?
Well, that's right. I mean,
I'm going to have a studio apartment, buddy.
you got a couch there.
Nah, they're small.
We'll come back and when you come back here, we'll do the podcast, and then I'll drive you to the Fairfield Inn down the street.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. So listen, before we do some wrap up and then rapid fire questions that I do in here, social media, how can people contact you? If somebody happens to know a radio news director or whatever you would call your radio station manager,
Program director?
program director, how do they contact you?
Well, my email is oheysam@gmail.com. And my Instagram is at Nuggetintheam. I think that's it. I think that's the easiest way to get a hold of me. My email is probably the best way to do it. And then Instagram, I post a lot of things about Doritos.
All right, Sam. So the first question I'm going to ask you, it's probably something you're sick of hearing because it's almost like when a celebrity gets asked a question that everybody knows the answer to, and they're sick of answering it over and over again. So how did you get the name Nugget? Kind of give it in a short version. I've heard you tell the story a million times, but for somebody that may just be listening for the first time.
Sure. When I was 19, I interned at a radio station, and the guy that I interned for was about 350 pounds, and I beat him in a chicken nugget eating contest. And ever since then, this name, I just can't escape it. So it's stuck with me for life. Everywhere I go, I'm like, do you want me to change my name to Sam or something on the air? And they're like, no, keep Nugget. And it's been working so far because they say a lot of really dumb things on the air, and it's hard to get upset with somebody. Yeah, like how would you feel if you had to write a complaint email where you were like, I think that Nugget should be fired.
Right.
So
it's so much easier to say, get Andrew Kozak the hell off the air.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
It's so easy. I hear people saying it just for fun sometimes when I'm out back home. I go out to bars and stuff in Columbus all the time, and I just hear people saying it. It's so weird.
It's my claim to fame. Everybody just wants me gone. So
Yeah.
I've got a little track record. Name something that you've learned about yourself during this quarantine. You've had a lot of time to kind of spend by yourself. So what's kind of one thing that you learned or maybe surprise yourself about yourself?
I look in the mirror
Oh God.
way too often.
Here we go.
I look in the mirror a lot. It's a problem.
Folks, he's
I spend-
not joking.
Yeah, no, I spend more time looking in the mirror than maybe on Netflix, which is it's a lot. It's a lot of time.
That's pretty
So,
bad. And the mirror doesn't actually ask you if you're tired of looking at yourself. Netflix actually does.
Right. So it
Yeah.
is a problem, and I'd like to say that I've been working on it, but I haven't. I'm just doing it just as much as before. So it's still a problem.
All right, he's humble too. Okay, what is your favorite scene in a movie ever? You don't have to love the whole movie, but it has to be your favorite scene in any movie.
Okay. I'm gonna say The Lion King from about 21 minutes in until about 28 minutes in.
And you will like to describe that for us since,
Well, a lot of stuff happens. Do you want me to tell you about the whole movie?
well, I mean, I know the plot of The Lion King. I'm talking about 21 minutes in. So I'm thinking,
It's the I Just Can't Wait to Be King song.
okay, that's what I was
And
going to say
then-
actually.
Yeah, Zazu, and they lose Zazu, and then there's a lot of stuff that I can't explain the whole movie to you right now.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how much time we have, but that's my favorite part.
So I just want to be clear. Out of every movie ever made, Academy
Mhm.
Awards, Oscars, 21 minutes into The Lion King is your favorite scene ever.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's won awards.
Right. But out of every movie, you're picking The Lion King.
What's yours?
You know what? I'm going to pick one because I'm going to tell you what mine is. You posted something on Netflix. On You're Not That Big Yet. You posted something on Twitter where it was like guys' movies and girls' movies, and you said like the guys' list, you hadn't seen most of those on there.
Right.
Casino. I can't believe you haven't seen Casino.
I don't know, man. That sounds like one of those. You know what? All those movies, Raging Bull, Casino, I've seen Pulp Fiction, but
Yeah.
all those movies sound like movies that frat guys talk about on dates.
Yeah, but Casino's different. Like, I didn't actually see Casino. Came out in like 94, 95. I actually hadn't seen Casino until like 2007. And I was definitely not a frat guy. It's a great, it's a true story. It's the Vegas. Well, you've never been to Vegas, so you probably don't care as much, but Robert De Niro, Sharon Stone. No?
Yeah, I mean, I hear you naming actors, but that doesn't make the movie better to me.
It's a great movie. It's a great movie. You will have to watch Casino at some point. Force yourself. Take a little bit of time out of looking at yourself in the mirror and maybe watch Casino.
I'll work on both of those things just for you.
Okay, I appreciate that. All right, last question. What is the first thing, you kind of touched on this, what is the first thing you're going to do when you touch down in the U.S.?
Oh, that's good. Oh, there's just so many things I want to do. Taco Bell. I'd like to eat Taco Bell.
They don't have that out there?
I think there was one a while ago, and then it just didn't work out for whatever reason. But I want to eat some Taco Bell. That's really important to me. And then I don't know, see my family, I guess. But Taco Bell is probably going to be the first. That's the first step.
So if there's one at the airport, that's where you're going.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. On that note, I think that's a good place to end this. Sam, get a freaking job. I mean, seriously, because I want to come visit, and if you come visit, I don't want to have to pay for you the whole time. So
yeah,
you need some source of income coming in, and looking in the mirror is definitely not paying the bills for you. So
no, if that could be a job though.
Hey, you got a podcast too. I know you've been adding some stuff to it. Want to promote that real quick?
Yeah, but it's terrible right now. It's much better when I have somebody else on it. But I've just been doing a lot of the restaurants out here. I feel like they're lying about their rating as far as food goes when they have their little Google review.
They're doing it themselves.
I feel like they get their friends and family to do it. Or I went and got a haircut one time, and before the haircut was over, they pressured me into giving them a 5-star review before I got out of the chair.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah. So I feel like there's some of that going on, and I am trying to expose them. So I've been doing just restaurant reviews on places that are supposedly high rated.
Okay. That's actually kind of interesting. So that is Get Your Life Together, right?
Get Your Life Together podcast on YouTube.
Okay. Awesome. All right, Sam. Well, like I said, get a freaking job. And no, seriously, good luck. Thanks for joining me here. And yeah, when you come back, we'll do one. I haven't done one in person yet. I actually wanted to twice and thought it was probably a bad idea right now, even the logistics of it, to have somebody in the same room, especially my home office, which is kind of like the same room. I was going to start doing this at work, but nobody's even seeing each other at work. So by the time you come back here, I think it'll be a little bit more socially acceptable to be closer than 6 feet. So we'll do one when you get back to the United States. Good luck, man.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks for joining me. And that's a wrap on episode 8. Thanks to Sam Dababneh, aka Nugget, aka Nugget Johnson, or at Nugget in the AM. Hey, make sure to check out his podcast on YouTube by searching for Get Your Life Together. Just Press Pause can be heard on Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio Podcasts, and many others. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel also by going to youtube.com/AndrewKozakTV. Any questions, comments, or guest requests? Hit me up on Instagram and on Twitter at AndrewKozakTV. Thanks for listening and watching. Stay tuned for episode 9.